This evening, let's explore humiliation, the underlying fear. You know, like that sensation when you start your live stream 3 minutes late. This, oopsie, wrong button. This is like, so that was a visual aid there, but anyway. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to learn how to meditate as transformatively as Yoda learned it to on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Once again, this evening, we could explore humiliation, the underlying fear, that you too could meditate like a Jedi. If at any point during this evening's live stream you have a question, there is no need to be shy. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. If you're watching a replay, you'll want to type your question in the comment area below the video. And if it's a really good question, I'll talk about it most likely in about 5 or 6 days, because I've got a lag time. I've got a bunch of live streams full up in line. There's a proper word for it that will occur to me later. Well, my friends, the sun has set, the day is done, and if you're feeling a bit fatigued, there's an excellent pick-me-up I can recommend. I recommend performing geriatric step-back squat thrusts while performing, if you can, a recitation of love and enthusiasm. It's completely optional. Oi! May I liberate all beings by mastering the eightfold path on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by mastering the eightfold path on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by mastering the eightfold path on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Well, that was invigorating. That'll wake you up first thing in the morning. Whew. Don't be shy. You're allowed to say hi to me in the live chat. I promise not to bite much. S on Reddit asked, how many of you are afraid of being made fun of in social situations? I noticed how maybe I expect people to call me stupid or make fun of me, make fun of something I'm doing. S continues, do you think it has to do with me believing these things about me because I was told that when I was younger? So before I get to the formal response, I'd like to give you an impromptu response. We owe many of the assumptions of present-day psychotherapy. We owe to the groundbreaking work of Dr. Sigmund Freud. Now, Sigmund Freud, armed with a medical degree and a buttload of cocaine, approached psychiatric problems from the medical model or the disease model. So he just assumed there was pathology, metaphorically speaking, that if understood would cure the delusions manifesting, fueling neurosis. Which is a lovely idea. But like most of his ideas, it has not stood the test of time. So, according to Buddhist psychology, which is considerably older than psychotherapy, we do not wish to fail to learn the lesson of the archer. May I share it with you? There is a war. A man is felled by an enemy's arrow. The physician races up to him and begins to attend to his wound. And yet, surprisingly enough, oddly enough, tragically enough, the injured party says, no, I will not permit you to treat my wound until I know who shot this arrow, his caste, and his motivation. To which the physician said, by the time we find that out, you will be dead. The inference is, in dealing with our psychic wounds, we have to deal with them in the present moment. It's not our job to excavate old beliefs and replace them with new beliefs. It is far more therapeutic to contemplate love and to contemplate impermanence and interdependence, that they might help us to better let go, and then to allow those contemplations to fuel the flames of our meditation, mindfulness, and our meditation of awareness and letting go. That's the Buddha's path. It works like a charm. Here's my formal response. In the early 1980s, Rush sang Humiliation, the Underlying Fear. I'm not sure, but I think it was Spirit of Radio. Want to know a secret? Fear of scorn is baked into the cake of what it means to be a mammal, to be a member of a pack, or a herd, or a tribe. We evolved to hate scorn and obscurity as if they threatened our very survival, for in a very real sense, they did. We, therefore, ignore or repress or scold or mock this fear at our peril. When this rather uncomfortable feeling rears its scabby head, we could, horrifying am I not? We could contemplate the dance of impermanence and interdependence with this series of rhetorical questions. How thoughts melt into form, how forms melt into speech, how speech melts into mind, how minds melt into void. And we'll explore this in greater detail this evening, several minutes from now. Then we could rest the mind for 20 minutes or so, mentally watching this as we inhale, and silently reciting, relaxing as we exhale. And as such, meditate like a Jedi. Every 12 hours, I broadcast a live meditation class without any ads. This channel, supported by the generosity of viewers, just like you. With your help, this channel could come to support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. If this speaks to you, and you'd like to help out for even as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month, well, then feel free to poke around the description area below the video. You'll find a link to Patreon, another link to PayPal, a button for YouTube Join, and another button for YouTube Super Chat. Click whichever one floats your boat. Seeing no questions. Well, let me just double check real quick. Yes, seeing no questions. I think it could be great fun if together as a team we chanted 6 passages from my adaptation and amplification of the Padmakara group's translation of Dzogchen Rinpoche's final meditation manual, Our Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. Dzogchen Rinpoche was a great yogi and in Tibet in the 1800s. I would say 19th century, but most of us get confused with 19th century versus 1800s. So forgive me if I'm being provincial. Not long ago your consciousness was wandering alone, swept along by karma, it took this present birth. Soon like a head pulled out of butter, leaving everything behind, you will go on again alone. Of course what we want is our own good, so we have to be honest with our own selves. If we do not accomplish the essence of the Dharma for our own sake, will we not be squandering our own life's opportunity? In this dark age, what people think and do is vile. None of them will help you, they could deceive and trick you. And for you to be of any help to them will be hard. Would it not be best to quit the whole rat race? Though you serve your so-called superiors, they might never be pleased. Though you look after your so-called inferiors, they might never be satisfied. Though you care about others, they might not care about you. Think about it and make a firm decision. Being learned these days does not help the teachings, it could just lead to more debate. Being realized these days might not help the others, it could just lead to more criticism. Being in a responsible position these days might not help govern the country well, and might only spread revolt. Think about these times with sorrow and disgust. One moment, if you please. File, save as. Let's go over here. Let's see, today is 16th through 10th. Okay, let's make sure that the display is synchronized. Though you explain, people can miss a point or simply not believe you. Aha, that's what we call an error. Though your motivation is truly altruistic, people might think it is not. These days when the crooked see the straight as crooked, you might not be able to help anyone give up any hope of that. Oh, I guess that's tonight's quota. Well, woohoo! Once again, I'm going to quick like a bunny, check for questions, and finding none. Let's practice tonight's live stream. I'm sorry, sadhana, which is available for free download. Just use the appropriate link in the description area below the videos. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness, may everyone have balance free from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging. May I liberate all beings by mastering the Eightfold Path, through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by mastering the Eightfold Path, through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by mastering the Eightfold Path, through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Let us now bring mantra contemplation into the path of love. Through the cause and effect of my practice of love and letting go, may each sentient being of each world know practice with me in unison. With whom we invoke the example of the Muni Wise One. Like the Maha greatly wise one Muni of the Shakyas, we so hard wish enlightenment for all. As we chant the mantra, it feel as if golden rays are emitting from a thumbnail-sized horizontal 12-syllable mantra rosary at our heart. Excuse me. Lavishing all minds, communication, bodies, and circumstances with wisdom, love, health, and good fortune, centered and spontaneous. One moment, if you please. I think I'm going to change this to joy and peace. If it is in the best interest of all that, If it is in the best interest of all that I have great joy, then may I have great joy. If it is not in the best interest of all that I not have great joy, then may I not have great joy. May all beings benefit, may all beings benefit. We're going to play with 4 intentions. These intentions are going to be peppered with figurative language, for vertebrates on this planet evolved to think symbolically. Now, in Buddhist iconography, a Buddha's enlightened mind is often symbolized by a 1-syllable mantra, which is known as a seed mantra, or which is known as a seed mind protection, or a bija mantra. So let us lovingly wish. Now, love here is not a reference to what we feel, but what we intend. So regardless of what we feel, we can intend something very altruistic, and that doesn't make us hypocrites. So let us lovingly wish that all minds be as joyful as a Buddha's enlightened mind, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra. I see. One moment, if you please. Thank you for your patience. Once again, I'm going to verify that the display is synchronized, and lo and behold, it's not. If it is in the best interest of all that I have great love, then may I have great love. If it is in the best interest of all that I not have great love, then may I not have great love. May all beings benefit, may all beings benefit. So we are going to, let us wish that all beings' communication and the consequences of that communication, the effect it has upon our relationships, be as loving as a Buddha's communication, symbolized by a mantra. If it is in the best interest of all that I have great beauty and health, then may I have great beauty and health. If it is in the best interest of all that I not have great beauty and health, then may I not have great beauty and health. May all beings benefit, may all beings benefit. Let us lovingly wish that all bodies of all beings now enjoy the optimal health that we see in Buddhist art, depicting archetypes of enlightenment, also known in Tibet as yidam. If it is in the best interest of all that I have great safety and luck, then may I have great... Boy, I'm having trouble chanting. If it is in the best interest of all that I have great safety and luck, then may I have great safety and luck. If it is in the best interest of all that I not have great safety and luck, then may I not have great safety and luck. May all beings benefit, may all beings benefit. Let us lovingly wish that all circumstances enjoy the good fortune depicted in Buddhist artwork, or I should say inferred in Buddhist artwork depicting a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, or a Pure Land, or a Vati, if you prefer Sanskrit. Let us bring mantra contemplation into the path of the wisdom of letting go. The screen is going to go nuts. It does that sometimes. Don't worry, I will return you safe and sound to the Shire. May I let go of all circumstances, bodies, communication, and minds, as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. So we're going to play now with 4 rhetorical questions. How is it that when we inhale, it is easy to observe, to visually observe our circumstances, and yet when we physically relax into our exhalation, our circumstances, the exact same circumstances, can now feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise comprised only of light. It is super important to physically relax as best we can while whispering the mantra. And I understand that could feel like I'm asking you to ride a unicycle backwards while blowing bubblegum. But play with this twice a day, every day, and with a week or so, it'll feel like old hat. Our second rhetorical question: how is it that as we inhale, we could sensually observe our bodies, and yet when we physically relax into our exhalation, these exact same bodies can now feel as if they were as non-graspable as an artist's depiction of an archetype of enlightenment comprised only of light. We come to our third rhetorical question. How is it that as we inhale, our communication and its consequences upon our relationships can seem rather resounding, and yet, when we physically relax into our exhalation, this exact same communication and its consequences can now feel as if they were as non-graspable as a mantra comprised only of light. We come to our fourth rhetorical question. How is it that when we inhale, our mind's functions could seem... How is it that as we inhale, we can perceive our mind's functions rather clearly, and yet, as we physically relax into our exhalation, these exact same mental functions, perception, emotion, intention, thought, memory, and imagination, could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a one-syllable mantra comprised only of light. Having concluded this evening's mantra contemplation, we turn to a final collection of 4 contemplations, once again predicated upon rhetorical questions. Let us use melting as a metaphor of impermanence to help us to leapfrog over the tyranny of clinging in our lives. Let us also use absorption as a metaphor of interdependence to likewise help us to leapfrog over the tyranny of competitiveness in our life. How could all places blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this body? How could all bodies blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this speech? How could all speechless funny melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this mind? How could all minds blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into infinite emptiness? We now turn to silent meditations, which need not be mysterious. With each inhalation, we practice mindfulness during each inhalation. Now, let's phrase this. To practice mindfulness during our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite feeling this. To practice meditation during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing. But why would that work? Each inhalation accesses our sympathetic nervous system that supports the sensory acuity that allows us to perceive the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. It empowers us to perceive in a manner that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random, to such a degree that the only label we need to ever use is the simple pronoun this. But what are we to do with all that we notice? Each exhalation accesses our parasympathetic nervous system, which supports both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. During this evening's silent meditation, what are some of the things we could find ourselves releasing? We could find ourselves releasing our resistance to the presence of what we hate. We could find ourselves releasing the real or imagined. We can find ourselves releasing our resistance to the real or imagined absence of that which we crave. And we could find ourselves releasing our resistance to the real or imagined loss of that to which we cling. One final check for questions. Let's continue. May all mind, speech, forms, and lots have the wisdom, love, health, and boon of Buddha's mythical Bija Mantra Yeda Manvati. Having sat for the better part of an hour, it may be refreshing to knock out a few geriatric step-back squat thrusts while chanting whatever recitation of love and enthusiasm you've committed to memory. By chanting, I mean whisper. May I liberate all beings by mastering the Eightfold Path through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by mastering the Eightfold Path through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's, by mastering the Eightfold Path through relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May all beings like the Buddha, Master, being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. May all beings like the Buddha master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May each being take auspicious rebirth, complete the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. At this very moment, for the peoples and the nations of the earth, may not even the names disease, famine, war, or suffering be heard. Rather may their conduct, merit, wealth, and prosperity increase, and may supreme good fortune and well-being always arise for them. Beginning with Kuntu Zangpo and Great Dorje Chang down to my young kind Sri Lama. Whatever aspirations they have made to benefit beings, may I accomplish them all. If you feel I have earned it, approximately 10.5 hours, we could return to explore letting go of our disabilities, as well as chant and meditate some more. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy, and if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.